The O.J. Simpson trial became known as the trial of the century. Everyone around the world was obsessed with it. They were having television specials daily in Europe to update the people in Europe about what was going on here in Los Angeles with this trial. People were obsessed with it. Behind me is Paul Revere Middle School, and the tension between O.J. and Nicole sort of started here that afternoon, Friday the 12th of 1994. It was a Friday afternoon. And their daughter, Sydney, was performing at 4:30 at a recital here. She was dancing to Footloose, I think it was. O.J. showed up late, driving the Bentley, and everyone was seated in the auditorium watching the show. And Nicole made it quite clear that O.J. was not welcome to sit with them. And then after about 6 o'clock, they were in the parking lot here, and O.J. wanted to get a family photo taken, but Nicole wouldn't let him do that. She's like, no, don't think so. So O.J. was pissed off about that, too. And he made a comment to her because Nicole was wearing the black skimpy dress that she ended up being murdered in later on, and it was 4:30 in the afternoon. He made some sort of comment to her like, you're going to wear that dress when you're a grandmother, and that pissed her off. So I think the tension sort of started there at this middle school. O.J. found out that the group of them were going over to dinner at Metzeluna, and Nicole made it quite clear he was not welcome there either. So you could probably see the smoke coming out of his ears at that point. And now a warm Brentwood hello from the location of Metzeluna Restaurant. Behind me is the former Metzeluna Restaurant where Nicole Simpson and her party had dinner that night. Ron Goldman worked here. He clocked in at 5:30 that evening. Nicole's party probably left around 8:30. Nicole had the rigatoni, and I think the dish cost her about $10. Ask me how I know. I liberated this one when Metzeluna was still here. And she had the rigatoni with pepperonata, black olive, spinach, and goat cheese. $10. So Nicole and her party leave here about 8:30. She heads home. It turns out that Nicole's mom, Juditha, left her glasses, her prescription eyeglasses, behind. So Nicole phoned the restaurant and told the manager that the glasses were there. The manager found the glasses, put them in an envelope. Then Nicole calls the restaurant back and asks for Ron Goldman specifically. Like everything else in this story, Metzeluna Restaurant is gone. Where's our history? Later on that evening, O.J. in his Bentley with Cato Kalin went to a McDonald's. We'd like to show you the McDonald's, but we can't. We have to show you this McDonald's because they tore the original one fucking down. Like everything else in this story, Los Angeles does not appreciate the history. Even the O.J. McDonald's is gone. Where was the fight to save that? You have to stop. You can't be at McDonald's. It's like a personal responsibility. You have to get something. I'm not going to lose the opportunity to order an O.J., please. The juice is loose in Brentwood. After dinner, Nicole and others walked over here to what was a Ben & Jerry's. Did they even close down Ben & Jerry's? Nothing from the story exists. This was Ben & Jerry's. Nicole and others went inside Ben & Jerry's, and she bought a cup of chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream, which was an important part of this case. Because when she got back home, it was found on the countertop of her home. And the police and the investigators determined about what time the deaths took place from the melting of the ice cream. So Ben & Jerry's gone. There can be nothing left of this case 20 years later on. Just down the street from Metzeluna Restaurant, probably less than a quarter mile away, is Ronald Goldman's apartment where he lived, here. So that night, after his boss gave him the envelope with Nicole's mother's glasses in them, he came home, took a shower, shaved, put on a nice pair of jeans, a nice shirt, just to return a pair of glasses, as you do. And he headed there on foot, less than a 10-minute walk from here, and he didn't even make it in the condo. Behind me is the condominium where Nicole Brown Simpson lived and where Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman died on the night of June 12, 1994. Not much of it looks the same as it did. They put a new wall, they put a different number, they put shrubs around here, you can barely see it. But Ronald Goldman was killed just the other side of that wall. Here are the tiles that had the bloody paw prints of the Akita dog. Cato was the dog's name, who's not the only dog named Cato in this story. And so Ronald was killed just inside here. Nicole was killed about 10, 15 feet back off the road. A little bit later on in the evening, one of the neighbors found the dog with the bloody paws and hung on to him. When the dog was being very agitated, a friend of his took the dog to walk around the neighborhood to see if they could find out where the dog came from. The dog took him right here, and that's when they found the bodies and called 911.
25 South Bundy. These are the infamous tiles that were covered with blood. Dog prints as well. Nicole was found just in front of those steps on the other side of the gate. Ron Goldman back there. They took the address off of it. It used to be 8. It was right there.
It was it took about a week for it to start really blowing up into a thing. I remember seeing the front page of the paper thinking, oh, that's interesting, OJ's wife was killed. But then it became a real thing, and people came from all over the place to see this place.
Tons of people looking at this location.
The police tape was still here when I showed up, and people were all over the place running across the roads. Cops had to be called in to monitor traffic. Again, if you touched your brakes around here, they'd pull you right around the corner and write you a big fat ticket for obstructing traffic. So it took a long time, and since that trial played out for as long as it did too, this was tourism central in LA. Of course, I added it to the Graveline tour. It's what I do. So this is the back of the house, and after Nicole and Ron were killed at the front, whoever killed her, maybe OJ, maybe not, but maybe, came out this way, and there was a mesh gate there at the time, and there was, I know that the police found like flecks of blood on the mesh gate, and then the car, which may have been a white Bronco, maybe not, was parked over here and headed back to Rockingham. Allegedly. After all the trial and everything was over with, the condo was eventually sold. And whoever bought it put a different number on it and took out the old mesh gate that was there.
Blood on the fence. You can see where they scrubbed that off there. And whoever it was that did it came out this way. Nicole's garbage can, see it?
A couple of days after Nicole and Ron's murders, I went up to Bundy Drive while there was still a crime scene tape, etc. And you know, my tradition of gathering pieces, liberating pieces, procuring pieces where famous things happen. This stone was just inside the gates where Ron Goldman's body was found, and it is here at Dearly Departed Tours as well. So right now we're on the 405 freeway heading northbound, and this is the exact spot where the infamous low-speed car chase took place. It started down south around Irvine, and A.C. Collings was driving the white Ford Bronco on this very path with a, supposedly suicidal O.J. Simpson with a passport, money, and disguise in the back of the car. They were being pursued at 35 miles an hour by the police. People up here had known about the chase already, and they were set up with lawn chairs and signs saying, we love you, OJ, et cetera, et cetera. So they had enough time to know that they could get prepared and make it into a real, what began the sideshow. It was during this chase, when OJ and Al Collings were in the white Bronco, that this 911 call was made. And it was ruled inadmissible at the trial for whatever reason. When you listen to it, you'll see why, because I don't think there's much left to interpretation here. This tape is crazy.
911, what are you reporting?
This is AC. I have OJ in the car.
Okay, where are you?
Please, I'm coming up the 5 freeway.
Okay.
Right now, we are okay, but you gotta tell the police to just back off. He's still alive, but he's got a gun to his head.
Okay, hold on a minute.
I know you're thinking,
Oh.
man, just throw it out the window. And nobody's going to get hurt.
I'm the only one that deserves.
No, you don't deserve
I'm
that.
get hurt.
You do not deserve to get hurt. You do not deserve to get hurt. Don't do this.
All I did was love Nicole. All I did was love her. Just let me get to my house.
Okay, we're going to do that.
I swear to you, I'll give you I'll give you me. I'll give you my whole body.
Okay.
I just need to get to my house.
Okay.
I live with Nicole.
We're going to do that. Just throw the gun out the window.
I can't do that.
We're not going to bother you. We're going to let you go up there. Just throw it out the window, please. You're scaring everybody. OJ, you there?
This is not to keep you guys away from me. This
I know
is for
that.
me.
Nobody's going to hurt
This
you.
is for me.
Okay, it's for you. I know that, but do it for
This
you.
is for me, for me.
I
That's
know
all.
that. I know that, but do it for the kids too, will you?
Yeah.
Think of your kids.
Yeah.
You're scared.
Just tell them I'm all sorry. You can tell them later on today and tomorrow that I was sorry, and that I'm sorry that I did this to the police department.
Listen, I think you should tell them yourself, and I don't want to have to tell your kids that. Your kids need you.
I've already said goodbye to my kids.
Listen, no, we're not going to say goodbye to your kids.
Oh,
You're gonna see them again.
I can't take this.
Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can.
I can't.
You got your whole family out here.
I'm just gonna leave. I'm just
No,
gonna
don't.
go with Nicole. That's all I'm gonna do. That's all
Hey,
I'm trying
listen.
to do.
Think about everybody
I
else, all
couldn't
right?
do it on a freeway. I couldn't do it in a field. I want to do it at a grave. I want to do it at my house.
You're not going to do anything.
You know, you just let them all know. You let the police know. You let them all know. I wasn't running.
I know you weren't running. I know you weren't running.
I was trying to go to Nicole's grave.
I know you weren't running.
And now
I know you weren't, man, but you got everybody scared.
I just want to be with Nicole.
You don't need to be with Nicole. You need to be with your family and with your kids.
The Bronco exited the freeway here at Sunset Boulevard. This freeway has gone through a major renovation right now, so we're in a sort of area where the exit used to be. But in just a moment, we'll be on Sunset Boulevard, traveling the path that the Bronco took that afternoon, that Friday afternoon. And then in a minute, we're going to be coming up to that sign saying "Welcome to Brentwood," which somebody put a sign underneath that saying "Home of the Butcher, Brentwood." One time I had, when I was still driving the hearse for Graveline, my car broke down. By OJ's house, my hearse, it said Graveline Tours on it. So I walked to the mayor's house asking if I could use the phone. They wouldn't let me use the phone. So I had to walk to this little motel over here and call taxis for all my people and then wait in the back of the hearse for the tow truck to come. And it was at the height of the OJ hatred of anyone that came around looking at the house. Okay, here's this is Rockingham that we're turning onto now. Nice neighborhood for a murder. So Brentwood, a very fashionable area. And OJ's house was at the corner of Ashford. So the Bronco would have pulled up right about here. This would have been, because it was parked a little bit crookedly here in front. So all of the events that took place that night ended at Rockingham Drive in the historic location of O.J. Simpson's house, which isn't there anymore because this is LA and that's what we do here. We tear shit down. And this would be the point where O.J. allegedly left the house to head over to Bundy Drive, and somebody killed her over on Bundy. And then O.J. got back home, or at least somebody did, and was seen by the limousine driver after Nicole was allegedly murdered by somebody else. Maybe, allegedly, maybe. A.C. Cowling's low-speed car chase Bronco was just about where that second car is over there on the left. So that's where the Rockingham gates were to the estate. He was going to be taking a flight to Chicago that night. The limo driver came to pick him up. The limo driver got here about 20 minutes early, and he sat in his car and waited till the allotted time. That's when he rang the bell, the buzzer on Ashford Street, and he kept buzzing, and nobody answered. And then he called his boss, and the boss called the O.J. house. They didn't answer either. And then he went over to the Rockingham gate. No answer. So the limo driver went over to Ashford again, rang the bell again. After he had seen this person, a black person, 6 feet tall, entering the house and the lights go on in the house, he tried one more time. And OJ picked up the phone and saying, "Oh, I'm sleeping late. Sorry, I'm running late. I'll be right there." So he finally got in the limo and they took off to the airport from that side of the house. But after the murder occurred and everyone was, OJ was arrested, and this place, again, it became a real focal point. People came from all over the place. They put signs all over the property, all over the gates. We love you Jews, OJ, OJ, OJ. All this pro-OJ Simpson ephemera was left all over the house and the outside of the house. Finally, they just put big green tarps over all the gates so you couldn't see inside anymore. But it was a real zoo around here.
Into it. Yeah, it is.
And then also during the trial, it was the same thing, because they were so obsessed with it that the news wanted anything. What do you have to do with the trial? We'll put you on there. They were doing features on guys making T-shirts and selling them out in front of the courthouse. So they go to us because we could string a sentence together, and it was fine by me. It's great publicity. And also, we're doing what we do. It's the press that jumped on the bandwagon. This is what we always do. And they're the ones that hopped on, yet we were looked on as the ghouls.
You heard me.